Hello friends, I'm back with another video. Bet you wouldn't be expecting another Feral Druid update this quickly, but yes, Dragonflight Beta is being updated this week with more things to Feral Druid. It's Saturday today, but on Friday, Blizzard has come out with another blue post to talk about some of the changes that they're going to be making. And I've been messing around on the talent calculator with that on Talent Tree Manager, and I'm going to just talk you through some of that. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole complete blue post here, but I would definitely recommend you read through it to get an understanding of, from the Blizzard devs' point of view, what they think about things. And they go through every single row of changes and stuff like that as well. But key features, just to note, so right now, or what they're trying to do, they found that the left side of the tree was way too single target heavy, the right side was way too AoE heavy, and you were kind of restricted. And that was very true, so they're going to kind of mix things a little bit, have things a little bit more central that can overlap, and allow you a little bit more freedom with choice, energy, and combo points. They're trying to make it so that you have more choice and there's more interesting decision making when it comes to whether you want more energy or energy regeneration, or whether you want to actively have better combo point generation as a whole. Within that, they're also going to be making it so that Berserk also causes your swipe to give an additional combo point, not just Shred and Rake. So that's good. And then tuning, they're messing around with some of the tuning numbers of some abilities, some talents, and all that kind of stuff. And then they made a change to where Lunar Inspiration and Double Clawed Rake are positioned so that cleave builds can be better situated. I don't know that this one necessarily checks out the way that they think it is, but okay. Big thing to note as well is that 1 minute Convoke is back in the tree. If you take Ashmane's Guidance now, which is what everyone would be was expecting was going to happen, is that 1 minute Convoke is returning. Now, what the Blizzard devs are saying is that because 1 minute Convoke is back, they want to nerf the potential of Convoke in some kind of way. So what they're doing is making it so that if you take 1 minute Convoke, I think it's only if you take 1 minute Convoke. I think 2 minute Convoke hopefully still casts Tiger Fury, but if it can't, I think they're just taking away Tiger Fury from being able to be used in that Convoke window, which no matter what situation, whether it's 2 minute, 1 minute, doesn't matter, it doesn't nerf Convoke, because if you were playing it correctly, you were always aligning Tiger's Fury and Convoke anyway, because they were already on the same reset range of 30 seconds for Tiger Fury, 1 minute or 2 minutes for Convoke. They're always going to sync up anyway. So that doesn't actually do anything. If anything, it just buffs Convoke, because you now in any situation you're just going to get more bites. But in AoE you run Predator, you have Tiger Fury constantly. In single target you were going to Tiger Fury then Convoke anyway. It's a big change there, but they think that they've nerfed it, and they haven't, which is something to note. But mostly on the tree, as you can see things have changed around a little bit. So Protective Growth got buffed. It's also moved down here to the left-hand side. And maybe what I can do here is I can open up the current tree, and you guys can just take a look at that whilst I show you this. But Protective Growth has now changed, and they've also buffed it to 5%. Nice buff. Moving over here is fine for now. I'll explain why not in a little bit. Primal Claws, they've also changed Piercing Claws, moved it up here, and changed the way that it works. So now your combo point generators have a chance to give you an additional combo point, which I'm, at the moment, until I play with that, I'm not fully in love with that. But it could be quite cool, could be quite good. So I'm interested in it, definitely. And I think it's definitely better than just 4% crit chance, which is very okay. Tireless Energy, they've also changed that. Maximum energy increased by 30, or maximum energy increased by 60. And then you get a passive energy regen increase by 10 or 20%, which is really cool. Plays into a haste playstyle as well. If you run high haste now and high mastery, then you can potentially go for that instead of a crit build. Especially if you had something like Primal Claws and Tireless Energy, where you're getting all these combo points, and then your energy is also really high. I don't know if you do that, but there's definitely a reason for it's possible. Then they moved the Lunar Inspiration over here and Double Clawed Rake up, which a lot of Blizzard's rationale is Lunar Inspiration is going to be used in cleave builds. It's a single target ability, primarily, that can be used in cleave. And especially from a PvP standpoint, this is really bad, to put it here because you have to take 2 abilities that you don't want to take in PvP to get this that you do want in PvP. So my suggestion, the big, if you're asking whether this tree is good or not, the biggest problem right now with Feral Druid Theory Crafters is that they don't like where Lunar Inspiration is positioned. So that means that Feral has a really good tree, if this is our biggest issue, in my opinion. But I think Lunar Inspiration should go where Protective Growth is. End of story. You do not need to have a conversation after that. Do a quick 1-2 swap. Nothing else needs to change. You can go about your day. Protective Growth isn't really going to get played in Raid anyway, or shouldn't need to be, really, when you look at the rest of the class tree and how defensive we can be. Maybe it can get used in Mythic Plus in high key levels where the rest of your talents aren't enough to cut it. But, then we moved some things around. Sudden Ambush over here. I read Cheesy's post today, which is really good, and also link that in the description. Their beta feedback post, they actually want Sudden Ambush to get nerfed so that you don't have permanent uptime on improved Rake, which is understandable, but that would technically be a nerf to Rake. But right now, Sudden Ambush is looking good there. Infected Wounds, you can still get reasonably easily as well. This is probably a better setup for Double Chord Rake than the previous setup, where you had to take Taste for Blood, which you don't necessarily want as much, but Sudden Ambush is always going to be good with this like Rake spread situation, so that's actually like a buff to the Rake Double Chord Rake situation. Relentless Predator has moved here, and the energy cost of Ferocious Bite is reduced by 20%, so you'd be biting at like 40 energy instead of 50, which is interesting, or at least as far as I'm aware, that's how it would work. I don't know if they'd still make it so that Ferocious Bite does 100% increased damage at 50 energy. So, I don't know, maybe that would mostly just affect us in, like, our Berserk window, where we're biting as soon as possible, but then that's, like, what, a 5 energy reduction, so you're biting at 20 energy instead of 25. It's an interesting talent. I don't know how much it's going to get used. We'll see. I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious to see how strong that is. Then you have Raging Fury and Tiger's Tenacity. Tiger's Tenacity is actually... I'll move this over a little bit for you. Tiger's Tenacity is Eye of Fearful Symmetry, which has been reduced in a good way. So your next 3 finishing moves after a Tiger's Fury restores 1 common point, instead of your next 2 finishes restoring 2. This makes it slot in with the rest of the spec a lot better. But if you watch my latest video, so the one previous to this, I actually really started to enjoy Eye of Fearful Symmetry and the things that they were doing, like the way that it was potentially going to change our rotation in certain situations. I was actually starting to like that, and it was starting to grow on me. But now, if you are going to take either of these talents, you're pretty much just probably always going to take Raging Fury, in my opinion. Adaptive Swarm, finally, Unbridled Swarm is playable. They reduced it to 1 talent and made it 60% chance for 1 talent, rather than 2 talents being 30% each. So that's good. Soul of the Forest got nerfed, which is understandable. It was really strong. However, I don't really get it, because you're taking it... Well, you're taking Soul pretty much 100% of the time in all scenarios, as far as I can see. However, by nerfing Soul, maybe now you have to take an additional energy talent to counteract the fact that you're getting less value from Soul. So it does have an impact on your decision-making, even if you're still going to always take this talent. It now means, am I also going to take other energy talents as well, or combo point talents as well? I don't think anything has changed. Oh yeah, Rip and Tear, they've changed it to a percentage of your rip damage now, rather than an amount scaling off your AP. So 6% here, I think, will be a lot better, just generally in terms of the scaling of it. And I still think it's weak, though. It needs to get buffed. This is way too weak. I get it, every time you rip and in AoE, you're going to get more damage, but it's like, it's super low damage. It's very much like, it's like 2% damage overall, and like, why would you take that for 2% damage? You know, it might not even be that. It might be like close to like 1%, particularly on single target. It's gonna be rubbish. Frantic Momentum here. Finishing moves have a 3% chance per common point or 6% chance per common point to grant 10% haste for 6 seconds. When I first read this, I thought it was 3 and 6% chance total, but no, of course it's per common point. So you have a 15 or a 30% chance every finisher to gain 10% haste for 6 seconds. This is really cool. This is really good, especially when you think of Tireless Energy as well. You can get massive energy regen, plus you get massive haste buff. If you go like a haste mastery build, sounds kind of cool. But that's every single change as far as I can remember. Berserk got that slight AoE buff, especially with like a Frenzy Band swipe playstyle. You can swipe primal, or swipe finisher, I should say, which is a lot better than swipe finisher in AoE, so that's good. Apart from that, that's everything. My general thoughts on the tree, like if you guys are wondering, oh, is this better or is this worse than the old tree, the tree that we have here, right? For me, we're arguing semantics right now. I would have been, I'm absolutely, totally happy with either one of these trees going live. In some ways, I preferred the old tree. In some ways, I prefer the new tree. Of course, that's going to be happening when you're swapping talents positioning around. That's the whole point, is it shuffles things around. But it's ultimately, it's the same stuff, just shuffled around with some tuning changes. So I'm generally happy with it. I'm going to be happy for it to go live like this. And yeah, I think there are some interesting decisions that are going to happen. I don't know how strong Convoke is going to be now because it's very expensive to take it. I don't know how much you're going to want Frantic Momentum in every situation. So taking it in Mythic Plus, I don't know how convinced I am on it. Or like single target, grabbing it. Having to spend like 4 points to come down here. Well, 5 points technically. You're always going to want your defensive anyway, but yeah, it could be pretty expensive. You're going to have to give up other stuff for it. So we'll see. We'll see. But interesting decisions to be had. Anyway, wanted to keep this video reasonably short and just give you an update on everything that's going on. I will be testing this out as soon as it goes live on PTR or beta or whatever on probably like Tuesday, Wednesday, that kind of time. So make sure you come check out the stream, twitch.tv/Psybear_TV, and come check me out, playing it out. And thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next one.